welcome to Added Time, the podcast that brings you up to date with all the latest in women's football. I'm Abbie McCarthy, and alongside me, I have got two top players. And I'm hoping after this recording, we are going to go down as quite the iconic trio. Please, 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 please. First up, of course, is Fran Kirby. Hi, Fran.
Hello.
And making their debut on the pod, it's someone who has made a few defenders lose sleep at night over the years. It's our good friend and Spurs captain, Beth England. Welcome, welcome. Please make yourself at home.
Oh, thank you. And I don't think I've had a better introduction than that. You can come again. That was brilliant. Just keep filling my head.
Abbie's introductions are like top tier.
Yeah, I'll take that.
It was actually my job this podcast to do the introduction, but I felt like because you were on the podcast, we needed a solid introduction, so I just gave it to Abbie again because
10-10, Abbie, 10-10.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh,
I'll take that
stop
again.
it. You're flattering me. You can come back anytime. So before we take a look at this weekend's games in just a bit, I mean, a very good weekend of football. I'm sure you two will agree with obviously both your teams getting wins in the bag. Come on. But before we get into all that and we go, full analysis mode, it's only right that we get to know our special guest this week a little bit better in Beth England. Now, I don't know if your ears have been burning, Beth, but we've actually spoken about you quite a bit on the pod, actually, since we started it. Obviously, Fran's shouting you out as one of her favourite people that she's got to know through football. You've become great friends. Yep. I'm getting to know Fran a little bit more through doing this pod, but what's she really like? Like, how would you describe Fran and your friendship?
Oh, how long have we got? I think, Fran for me is obviously she's been one of my best friends in football, and I think I'm very fortunate that when I went to Chelsea, she'd not been there very long herself, so it was just kind of a natural friendship that grew from the off. And I think she's actually a lot more of a joker than people see. I think people probably see a serious side to Fran, like with work and stuff, but yeah, she always liked to play some pranks on me or wind me up. And thankfully, over the years, I've gotten used to it, so I don't bite back as much. But before, God, would I bite her head off? Like, I would nibble at and she just knew every little thing to get at me, and I'd get so irate. But so yeah, she definitely knows how to push buttons. But nah, she's it's my turn to gas you up now, Fran. But yeah, no, she's obviously really caring, an amazing footballer. Someone who was almost one of my idols when I was younger. I don't know if you've mentioned about when we first met. I was basically fangirling like mad down at Back to Action's gym, and and obviously I'm very fortunate enough now to call her one of my closest and best friends. So yeah, I think people will see hopefully a fun side to Fran that they might not always see the serious side on the pitch.
Yeah, we're already getting bits of that for sure, but tell me about these pranks, because I am definitely a fan of a prank. My friends at home are always just like, I can't tell if you're joking or not. What have you done now? So what have been some of the pranks that Fran's pulled over the years?
She used to love hiding around corners and jump scaring people. But no friends, because she's small, she can hide in some places. Like, she just comes out of there with a mask on or something. And to be fair, I'm actually not that... I'm quite good at not being scared that much, but I do think she's got... Do you know what she does, actually, which really gets me? She did this, I would say it was about a month ago.
Just attack Fran pod.
Yeah. She came to my house for dinner, and she does this thing where she just taps ever so slightly on the kitchen window, knowing my dog's going to bark, and it's dark outside, and I turn around and I jump like mad because I'm like, you're freaking me out. Like, I feel like someone's breaking into my house. She's this little creepy little thing on the window. Always gets... I actually hate that, but yeah, she's a little bugger.
The ultimate wind-up, but a good friend. And you mentioned there the kind of fangirl moment, and I remember Fran saying, actually, I'm not going to go into that. I want Beth to tell her version of that story when she comes on the pod. So over to you to, fully embarrass yourself. That's fine.
Yeah, so we just this was just before I joined Chelsea, and we were at the Back to Action gym in Bristol, where me and Fran were doing some pre-training before I guess we went back in with Chelsea. And I just remember, obviously she had a short hair back then. If I remember correctly, I think you had God, it's bad if I remember how. If you had a pink Nike t-shirt on and shorts, and I'm there in like my shorts and my leggings, like all.
Did I not sign that for you and give it to you on the day?
Say that again.
I said, did I not sign the t-shirt
Oh,
for you?
probably. Honestly, I probably tried to take it at some point, but yeah, I just remember being a little bit like, I'm not quiet. I'm not a quiet girl. I'm quite talkative, quite chatty. I just remember standing there and being like, oh, it's Fran Kirby, nice to meet you, Fran, and oh my God, and this is, and then I think I get into competitive mode when we were running around. Then, oh God, I feel like I was left in a dust. We had to do this massive run around this field that was hell. And afterwards, I just remember us both literally like laid out on the floor because like Rayan pushed us, didn't he? His sessions were brutal, but they were so good because they got. I think I did like a 3-day camp, and like I say, on one of them days, I met Fran, and yeah, it was just like so embarrassing because I'm like, you're actually there. I've just watched you at like. I obviously see you play for Reading all the time, and you. I think you'd got into England at that point, Fran. So it was like, I've just watched you. Was it Canada World Cup you just done?
Yeah.
Yeah. Look at me, I know all of it. And
did you play 5 times in that one?
I was actually chasing your record in the league for goals. But yeah, I just remember obviously seeing like being a bit shy at first, and then she was just super warm, super welcoming. And then, like I say, when we got into Chelsea after my first few days, we just kind of hit it off, and every night then was either at her flat or I think I was in the shared player house. We were cooking all sorts. I remember being with Fran when she went and got her dog Cody, and I was like, I nearly came home with Cody's sister. And yeah, our friendship just kind of blossomed from there, really.
Oh, I love that. I look at you guys now. And also, by the sounds of it, if you ever do like Celebrity Mastermind, Fran Kirby might be a special subject.
Oh, embarrassingly, I feel like I know a lot about Fran. I think I'd actually be really good. Yeah, but I'm sure. I mean, I'm hopeful there's more people that know more about you, Fran. But I take pride in knowing my friends well. So
Yes, exactly that. And I first met you, Beth, when we were working together doing a series for Chelsea, weren't we?
Yeah.
Around the Women's World Cup in 2019, going around France, seeing how all the different players were getting on the international stage.
Yeah.
And that's when I was a fan of Fran. And I was like, do you think we can beat Fran Kirby? And you're like, oh, I'll message her. I'll see how we get on.
Yeah.
Hopefully that makes you feel a little bit better. Obviously, that tournament, right, was such a buzz, but the game is in such a different place now. So what do you think have been the biggest changes that you've seen in women's football? What are the things you think of that just really make you smile?
I think a lot of it is just the attendance of not just like people in general, young girls, young boys. And I think it's been able to tap into not just like say we all want to be role models for young girls, and that's something that I'm really passionate about. But for me, like say, I have grown men come up to me in the street. I'm sure you've probably have it as well, Fran. Like actually fangirling you a little bit, and it's like you've been able to shift or change a mindset of people that want to actually support not just women's sport, but women's football. And yeah, the investment in the game is crazy now. Like you've got nearly every other transfer window, it's £1 million signings, which like back in my day and probably France, you wouldn't think that's unheard of. Like the money's come so far, and I think just being able to have I guess the TV productions and everything being able to showcase what we're about. I think it's not a case of people don't want to watch women's football, they just need the platform. And yeah, so seeing like Barclays coming in as one of the biggest sponsors of our league. Obviously, you got Sky Sports. Before that, all the Champions League games on Darzan and stuff like that. It's just huge compared to where it was before.
Yeah, because I think we chatted around that time, or maybe it was a bit before, and obviously you were kind of like balancing studying or a job. Was that right? And I think you guys have obviously come through in an era where you couldn't always be fully professional, and now people are living their dream by just playing and concentrating on training and and being the elite athletes you always were.
Yeah, I mean, kids these days have got it easy. They don't have to go and work. I used to have to work 6 till 4 and then go to training. That just again shows how far we've come in that people and younger players are able to have those resources, strength and conditioning, nutrition experts, all of these amazing facilities from such a young age, which the talent pool coming through has to be ahead of us because they're given more at a younger age. Albeit, I think they still need time to be able to actually be a bit of a kid first, and hopefully they can still enjoy football before it gets too serious. But yeah, you're seeing younger players making their debuts every week now, and yeah, it's just amazing to see that they've actually got those plans in place because we never had that, did we, Fran? Like, it was always you'd have to fight to just even pay to get to training sometimes, let alone being paid to play or as an academy player. Yeah, it's changed so much since I was younger.
And what's the changes you're happiest to see, Fran? Because again, you will have seen the game just transform to almost like an unrecognisable height to when you were coming through, when you burst onto the scene.
Yeah, I would agree with Beth. I think it's how it's become now of people just taking an interest. I mean, me and Beth played for Chelsea when we played at Staines, and got maybe 200 people through the turnstiles, which we thought was incredible, right?
Yeah.
You sometimes reach up to 300, 500, and you're like, oh my God, like sometimes Champions League would go a little bit higher. And that was so exciting for us. So for these girls now to be able to play in these massive stadiums, get so many people to come and watch them, like it only sets them up to deal with the pressure when obviously they, hopefully go and play in major tournaments, or they go and play for a team that's playing in the Champions League, or whatever it is. And I think it just allows them to understand what it actually is to be a professional footballer. Because I think, even when we signed for Chelsea and, we were professional, but we weren't professional. There wasn't a case of you'd come in for breakfast. We had to fight to get breakfast. That wasn't something that was just given. And, we had to fight for it. We had to fight to have a building. We had to fight to get a changing room. So all of these things now that you can see what these girls are able to tap into and use, it's only going to help grow the game. And it's only going to make the girls better. It's only going to make them stronger, be able to deal with pressure and just expose them to that element. I do agree with Beth in the sense of I hope they can still enjoy it and not just worry so much about the pressure of always turning up, always performing. Because first and foremost, we all played football because we enjoyed it. Us growing up, we never thought we could be a professional footballer. I remember saying it at school. I was like, I want to be a professional footballer. And the woman was like, yeah, but maybe we need to think about something other than football. What's the other career path?
Yeah.
So these things, it just wasn't available, or we couldn't see it. We couldn't see it because it was not there. So I think that's what I really love about it now, is that these girls growing up, they can see that they can do it. And that's what I think is so important for these young girls coming through. They can see their idols playing on TV. They can see their idols in stadiums. Then they also see the stadiums full. And they're like, I want a piece of that. I want to play in a full stadium. So I think all of it, the way it's growing, is really excited. I think we just need to make sure that the product on the pitch mirrors the growth outside of it. Because ultimately, that's what gets people coming to watch. That's what gets the TV deals. If the product goes down, you're going to lose all of these things. And then women's football is just going to, it's going to go back to how it was, where, people can't afford to be part-time. The money isn't getting thrown around as much. So for me, that's where I'm just always trying to, but we need to keep the standards high. We need to, it's great that we can be professional footballers, but we need to keep doing these things. So yeah, it's a really exciting movement, as long as we keep the movement going in the right direction.
Yeah, very good point. Yeah, we want to see some proper ballers on the pitch. And I was looking earlier, Beth, actually, the season after you met me, you were the PFA Players Player of the Year and the best player in the league. So my greatness clearly rubbed off on you,
honestly,
right? And you're welcome.
I don't know what I would have done without you, to be honest.
Thank you.
I might not have got that new contract at Chelsea, so thank you so much, because honestly, I wouldn't be where I am today without you.
I knew it. But you were in unbelievable form that season. Like, you almost single-handedly, you could say, won Chelsea the league that year. You were that good. It seemed like, you really found your shooting boots, though, in your loan to Liverpool. Is that something that just really, drove you on, gave you that motivation to get back in the starting 11 at your own club?
You know what? It's mad when I think about going on loan, because I mean, I'll never forget the day when I found out I was going to get sent away on loan. We were in pre-season tour in Austria, and Mary Mjolder was my roommate at the time. And after the conversation had been had, I just remember crying and crying to Maren, thinking, like, I've failed. Like, I've been at Chelsea, I was there a year and a half, and I was like, they don't want me, I'm not good enough. And honestly, the heartache in that. And I had like 2 days when I got back to turn around, pack my life up from London in a van, take it up to Liverpool. And I think it took me a good couple of months just before Christmas to actually find my feet at Liverpool. And I'll say this till I'm blue in the face, but Scott Rogers for me was one of the best things that ever happened for my career, because he helped me go from being a winger to a little bit of a 10 to, no, you're a number 9. And that's where I felt like I belonged on a pitch. And I think as soon as he started working with me in that role, I was like, yeah, this is me and I can really make this work. And after the Christmas break, I think I scored something like 14 goals for Liverpool in that half a season.
Well, you won us the league.
Scored the header against Man City, yeah, which won Chelsea the league. And then obviously everyone comes out the woodwork then checking in to see how I'm doing. But like, I think for me it was such a pivotal moment in my career, because I genuinely went away from Chelsea thinking I've failed myself and that I wasn't able to be good enough. And it really took a lot of work within myself to turn that around. And I think I'm still one of only maybe 1 or 2 players that's ever been sent out on loan and come back to the club. Not many people at that time had ever done that. And to be able to come back and continue my scoring form and have, obviously, Chelsea put the trust in me. Then being given the number 9 shirt, obviously, after any, I think it's a prestigious number and it holds a lot of weight to it. And it was something that I was very fortunate to be given. And I remember getting the shirt that year and thinking, I'm going to show you exactly why I'm going to be the best number 9 for this football club. And first game of the season, it's awful to admit now, but it's still one of my favourite goals. Obviously, it's Stamford Bridge against Tottenham. And I was like, this is going to be my year. And I just knew I was going to fly. And I mean, look, I'm around some of the greatest players in Europe at that time. Like, say, you've got Fran Kirby, Ramona Bachmann. I'd obviously trained with Gemma Davison, like Karen Carney. I had some of the best people I could possibly have around me. Got feeders like Guru Wrighton alongside me. I was always going to score goals. And as much as you say I could have won it with the goals, a lot of those goals wouldn't have come without the calibre of players I had around me. So I'm very fortunate that I was able to shift that mindset of feeling like a failure into, actually, I'm not just going to prove it's not about proving anything to Emma or to Chelsea. It was about proving it to myself that I could do it. And that's exactly what I did. And yeah, I would say that's probably one of my biggest accomplishments is knowing that I had that belief within myself to find the fight and go on and score and win as many trophies as I did with such a wonderful club.
Yeah, you were just on fire every single week. You were like, a joy to watch that season. What are your memories of playing with Beth, Fran?
Well, I mean, when she first came to Chelsea, you played a little bit of wing back. Yeah, I remember.
We won the spring series as me playing wing back.
We
won the spring series on my birthday as well in Birmingham.
Yeah. So we weren't really quite, playing with each other at the time, because obviously I was always kind of a 10 or even like a false 9 sometimes that season. So, and then I think we started to play a little bit more where you played as a 9 and I played just off the 10. And I think it was just, you just always knew you still always know what you're going to get with Beth when you're playing. You know she's going to score goals. You know she's going to work her beep off. Like, in everything that she does. And you know that she's the ultimate team player. And I think that's one thing that Beth had to learn when she came to Chelsea is stop trying to get everyone to like you and just do what you need to do. And I think Beth came in as someone, would do absolutely, and it's a wonderful trait. It's a beautiful trait. It's someone that wants everyone to do well. Would, if I said to Beth, we're doing some running today, would you mind doing an extra 3 laps for me so I don't have to do them? She would do it. Like, and I wouldn't have to do it. But like, it was like kind of like, I think I had like multiple conversations with Beth where I was like, Beth, sometimes you have to be selfish and you have to, do things as well for yourself to allow yourself to be in the best position. Because it was like if you were doing a shooting drill and someone just decided that they wanted to take 5 more shots than Beth would be like, that's fine, you can go, like, no problem, like, it's fine, I don't need to do the shots. And I'm like, Beth, take the shots,
go,
like, go and do it. So I think one thing you always get with Beth is she's the ultimate team player, and whatever is right for the team and whatever is right for more than herself, she will do. And that's, apart from the goals, the working hard, the effortless to just score a goal. When Beth's on the pitch, she's going to score. It's a kind of a non-negotiable, really. If you put her in the right areas, you put her in the box, you put her in between the goalposts, 9 times out of 10 you're walking out of that game with a goal. So I think that's just the security that you get when Beth's on the pitch, and that's a nice, especially as a 10. That maybe like one of your little slide passes through is going to end up with a goal, and that's always a nice feeling. So yeah, I think complete team player, but ruthless in and around the box.
Yeah, Beth English is quite good. Yeah, she's quite good, isn't she? She's blushing. Right, enough reflecting, you two. Pull yourself together. Let's bring it up to date. Obviously, captain at Spurs now, Beth. What kind of captain do you think you are? Are you one that
too nice to everyone?
Yeah, is this niceness still there? Are you arm around the shoulder of the younger players? Are you leading by example, or are you now actually a tough, no-nonsense captain?
You know what? I would say I'm very much in the middle of that. I think I'm still soft in areas, as Fran mentioned. I'm very much like for the team, and I will make sure my team's doing well, individually, collectively. I think I've definitely, over the past 2 seasons that I've been captain, I've learned a lot about myself and how I lead. I'm very empathic, I would say, in the way that I lead, but my directness is something that I think has actually helps me in my role, because I can be direct, but I don't have to be, I'm not going to swear, but I'm not going to be an absolute with it, because I think you can deliver strong messages, but there's a way to deliver them. Don't get me wrong, at times I have really given it to the team and told them where they need to stand. I think when standards slip, because for me, you're in a job that's so high and professional that you certain areas you cannot afford to let them slip, and when you do let them slip, that's when you get punished, and we've seen that time and time again. So for me, I could like to say my team say that I'm a good person and a good leader in how I'm always thinking about what the team needs, how can I help, what team bonding stuff can we bring people together. I'm quite a people person, so I could spot a mile off when someone's been a bit quiet, or if they need, like you say, an arm round. But I'm also okay at giving that tough love. I've got no issues in having direct conversations. I've had to have some seriously tough conversations, not just with players, but management, the board. And I feel like being given the captaincy, I've really found my voice in this team, and having the experience I've had through not just Chelsea but England, and seeing other role models around me. I mean, I look at the Chelsea team and I had an abundance of national team captains that I used to work alongside, so I was able to lean off some of their experiences and how they would lead stuff. No one's going to lead the same. I'm not going to lead the same way as Fran, but I think the biggest thing for me is that I'm not scared to have those tough conversations, which younger Beth would have been. I'd have been too like, oh no, it's okay. Like, whereas now I've always been direct. I've just not used my voice enough. Whereas I have the platform to use that voice, and Lord, do I use it? And it's probably got me in a few sticky situations. But one thing I'll do is I'll stand up for what I believe is right, and I'll also make sure that everyone around me is treated fairly, respectfully, no matter what your role is, whether you're a young kid coming in. Obviously there's levels of respect, but I'll speak to you the same, and I'll say it all the time. The cleaner gets treated no different to the manager. And I think I'd like to say that the girls would back me up and say I lead very empathically, but I'm very direct as well. And a lot of jokes. I love a joke. Love jokes.
What can she say? She's funny, she's a good captain, she's got it all. And you must be feeling pretty good about this season, Spurs currently 4th in the table with 3 wins. Not bad at all, is it?
Yeah, obviously we've had a much better start than previous seasons. And for us, obviously, we're still finding our feet a little bit. We've got a new manager. Obviously, changes can happen within personnel. But I mean, obviously, we're disappointed massively. It's not a secret with the Man City game. But I think coming off the back of 4 games, we're sitting here in 4th place, 9 points out of 12, 2 clean sheets, which is almost, I think that's matched the same as what we had in the whole of last season. We've definitely had big improvements, and I could not be prouder of the team and how we've started the season, albeit obviously the obvious, which wasn't, no one wants to receive a back end of one of them. So yeah, it's been a great
We've
start
all been
for us.
there.
Yeah,
We've all
we
been
sadly
there.
even at Chelsea, I remember that one year, I think, was it against Arsenal?
Yeah,
got
we don't need to talk about it.
Hammered, but yeah, we've beaten them a few times since then, so it's fine. But yeah.
Yeah, we won't dwell on that too much. Let's dive into the WSL action from the weekend just gone. And let's start with your lovely win, shall we? Brighton, another win on the board. 1-0 against Everton. Aggie Mang's first goal of the season. How was that game from your perspective, Fran?
It was actually quite tense going into it because I felt both teams probably saw the game as an opportunity to get another 3 points. And, you know, it was one of the ones where Everton started, obviously, their first game so well. So you don't really know what's going to happen. And also the same for us. You know, we start games really well and then our performances kind of dip a little bit. So it was kind of the unknown going into the game. I think the first half we played really well. I think we dominated the game. Probably should have been a little bit more ruthless just to kind of give us a bit more of that breathing space. But second half, we struggled, to be honest. I think we struggled with our front press. We struggled with retaining the ball. We lost a little bit of our composure. And I think that allowed Everton to kind of feel that they were getting back into the game. And I'd probably say the last, like towards the end of the second half, you know, from probably around 50 minutes, actually most of the second half, we were on the back foot probably a little bit too much. And them games, when you're only 1-0 and you see them going towards your box, you're like, please stop, please someone tackle them. So it was quite stressful, but I mean, we got the 3 points. We're learning each week about our performances, what's working for us, what's not. But yeah, no, happy to get another 3 points and kind of create a little bit more of a gap in there, and hopefully we can continue to win the games and get more 3 points.
We hope
We'll
for
see
you.
about that, won't we? Hey.
What did you make of that game, Beth?
The Brighton game.
Yeah, did you watch it back?
Oh, do you know what? Fran's playing it down a bit here because I've obviously, we all do our analysis on opposition and stuff, and I'm looking at obviously the goal Michelle scored, and if anyone watches it, what you can see is Fran's work rate. She wins the ball back, gets herself in a position, gets down the line, she does all the hard work, and luckily enough, you've got 2 players hitting the box to finish it off for her. So I think she's doing herself a disservice there because she probably was one of the key factors into them getting those 3 points in that game. And I'm not just saying that for the sake of it. I think you see what quality Fran can bring, and I think obviously we know they've got a lot of threat. They've got a few lone players there which are doing really well for them. So we're gonna very much have to be watching out for that on Sunday. But yeah, I think just as it is for us, they were saying it's a bit squeaky when they're only winning 1-0. It was the same for us against Leicester. We'd got a 2-0 cushion. We let our standards, I guess, a bit of complacency set in, and we allowed them to gain momentum. It was a very scatty game. I think there was too many fouls, which just disrupted the momentum. And obviously, they scored just before half time. So you're going in at half time in the same situation as Fran, where it's like that 1-0 cushion isn't a lot. So we can't afford to really give them any more. And I think the whole second half was just a fight. But yeah, definitely feel the same as Fran in knowing how we can start well, but it can dip. But I think we can both say that usually last year both teams probably would have given away those 3 points and either conceded to a draw or lost the game. But now we're both luckily finding a way to hold on and take the 3 points.
Yeah, lovely stuff. And we've got to talk about Aggie Mang because obviously, like you say, you know, she's on loan. She is a star girl. I think we all know that, potentially the future of England, and this loan is just really crucial to her development, isn't it? We were talking about your loan earlier, Beth, at Liverpool, and how beneficial that was for you. I mean, this is so important to her to make sure that she keeps developing into the superstar that she is.
Yeah, 100%. Like I said, for me, it was a turning point in my career. I think, luckily for Michelle, she's already, I guess, in the platform area of England. So she knows what those standards are. She knows what the level is that she is expected to be at. And it's just down to her now to bring those levels to club, because it's everyone can have good tournaments, but it's how do you show up week in, week out for your club. Obviously, she's off the mark now, which is great for her, getting her first goal this season, and hopefully many more to come, just not against us. But like, no shame in saying that. But no, obviously you want to see the young talent scoring, and as I say, as long as she can implement the same willingness and attitude that she brought to that to those Euros, which helped obviously England ultimately win, I'm sure she'll fly for not just England but Brighton this season and help them out. They'll help each other hand in hand.
100%. Yeah, is it a bit like that as a forward? You just really want to get that first goal of the season, then you hope that you'll just be feeling good, and then they'll start coming. I say you probably don't want to think about that actually with the game coming up, but potentially.
I think obviously any forward wants to score. Yeah, they want to get off the mark, but you
Mhm.
need to feel consistent in the way you do that, because you could score one and then you could not score for 5 or 6 games, and then that can put you back into doubt in yourself. But as long as you're in the right positions and creating the chances, the more you do that, those goals will come. And I think your confidence grows throughout the game. Obviously, Fran, you'll know it. Some seasons like we've had, you can go many games without a goal and you think, oh, have I lost it? Is it ever going to come? And then when it does come, you think, right, now I know what that feels like. I'm chasing that feeling again, and I'm going to make sure that I get myself in the right position.
Mhm. Okay, your Spurs side, obviously with their win, coming off the back of that tough loss that we won't talk about anymore. But you must have
Please
been
don't.
so pleased with the way your team bounced back. I mean, you started strong, strong pressing as well, right from the off.
Yeah, I think that's something that Martin's honed in on us. Obviously, I, no one wants to fear any team, and I think we have to be ruthless and relentless in trying to win the ball back. Because without the ball, you can't do a lot with it. So that's hopefully something that teams are starting to see from us, is our willingness and our work rate. But yeah, obviously I'm over the moon that we got the points, because as I just mentioned, then like same for Fran, that one goal cushion can be a really fine line to play on. And I'm so proud of the team, like say for how we defended. I'm looking at until I think it was like 94 minutes. There was a long ball. One of their striker, fresh legs, had come on, and our centre backs are hitting like peak speeds, getting back, and all the teams running back and defending. And Spurs before that would probably concede. So just knowing that we're able to hold off these teams, that when we know that we're probably not at our best, and I think that's the most pleasing thing, is we know we're not at our best yet, or some performances haven't been amazing, but you're still able to find a way to win. And I think obviously you'll know, Fran, even when we were at Chelsea, we weren't always at our best, but we found a way to win, and that's what made us one of the best teams. And that's just, I think, seeing more teams able to do that, like ourselves and Brighton, is only going to make the league stronger.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, shall we move on to the Liverpool United game? So Liverpool's Gemma Bonner becomes the third player to make it to 200 WSL appearances. So big congrats to her. That's amazing.
Well done, Bon.
And last season, Liverpool dominated this game, didn't they? Because Olivia Smith basically just ran wild. But it was a great performance from United this time round, I thought.
Yeah, I think United look really good, actually. I
Hmm.
think they've started the season really strong. Obviously, there were some question marks around them, obviously being involved in the Champions League now in terms of having that midweek fixture. But, the way that they played against Arsenal, you could see a different side to them that maybe, defensively that we haven't quite seen, and kind of accepting that, okay, we maybe don't have enough to win because of our travel midweek or whatever it was. And they really just defensively were really solid. Whereas obviously this time now you're looking at them and you see them dominating the game. Scoring 2 goals before half time definitely helps in terms of giving you that little bit of cushion. But yeah, I mean, I think Liverpool, I mean, of course, it's no surprise that they really miss Olivia Smith. you know, having that outlet, having that speed. I mean, you're watching her against Arsenal, and you're seeing the chances that she's creating, the shots that she's taking, the you know, the bravery that she has, and I think that's a massive loss for Liverpool. And they didn't quite. I mean, I'm not saying that you can replace someone like that, but they didn't bring anyone in really of, don't want to say similar caliber, because obviously Olivia Smith is, you know, going to be one of the best players in the world eventually. But I think, you know, United for me, they look really strong at the moment, and I'm really interested to see the game on Friday, to see how that's going to pan out, because I've been impressed with Man United this season.
Yeah, the next game is against Chelsea, isn't it? So this is absolutely huge for the league. My Chelsea Blues at the top at the moment, but only a 2-point advantage. And people need to be careful that Chelsea don't go and just run away with it again. So yeah, really, really big game for United, that.
Yeah, look, I think obviously United dropped points against Arsenal, or, you know, you look at it, they didn't lose, but you can't afford to keep dropping points when Chelsea are in the league. You can't. And obviously Arsenal at the weekend dropping points again at home, this time to Aston Villa. It's another kind of setback in the title charge, and
they've got City as well next, I think, haven't they?
Yeah.
Tough and game. City look good. City look really good as well at the moment. So it's, for me, it's you put yourself in a dangerous position now, I think, as you know, when you're dropping points. Of course, dropping points to, say, Arsenal is not the end of the world, because obviously it's a top 4 opposition, but it kind of puts you in a position where you have to beat Chelsea, and that makes it a lot harder, because you're relying on, you know, turning up against the current champions who have won it however many times, and them knowing that you're chasing them, and also knowing that they're probably not going to drop many points this year. So them games become must-win games. So for me on Friday, I'm looking at the game, Man United at home against Chelsea. I'm like, that's a must-win game for Man United now. You know, maybe a draw, maybe you can kind of like take a drawing, but, you know, it's going to come down to these games now, because when you're dropping points elsewhere, you have to pick them points back up, and the only way you can do that is against Chelsea, or hope that they drop points, which at the moment it just doesn't look like they're going to do.
Mm-hmm. But from a United perspective, I guess a good time to play Chelsea, because they are, you know, in a good run of form, 1-3 out of their first 4 games. For me, I think it's the brilliant midfield partnership. I think that's what's making all the difference. Any players that you guys are impressed with at United so far this season?
Obviously, I think Mallard's had a good start. I think she's not always shown her true qualities in previous seasons when she's been there, but I think she's really turned the fireworks on this season, and I think we're going to see a lot more of her this year, where she's so creative, she's quick, she's physical, she can be a nuisance in and around the box, get her shots away quickly. I think she's actually quite good dominantly in the air as well, so that might cause some problems for them. Obviously, Turlin's on a good run as well, especially coming off a hat-trick in the Champions League. But I think you're seeing with that Man United team, it's not just the same player scoring. Obviously, Tooney scoring, their other midfielders score. There's an abundance of players that can score for that team, and they can create many chances. So I think they have been quite a threat, as well as a solid defensive line as well. Obviously, Tullis Joyce is loving life at the minute there, and she's pulling off worldies left, right, and centre. So I think it is going to be hard. But then again, like say, you're coming up against the champions, who also have got an abundance of players on their roster. Anyone could come into the game, and they've got everyone scoring for fun. So it's going to be. I'm with Fran. It's going to be probably one of the biggest games for now, because they're both in form. They're both got a lot of players feeling confident, both scoring lots of goals, not conceding many. So it's definitely going to be a battle.
Yeah, it's going to be boxed office, I think. Get your snacks in, people, and enjoy the game for sure. And talking of the league and the standings, I'm just going to say it. Arsenal fumbled it, didn't they, against Villa? It was an easy goal for them early on, but then that second half was just really sloppy. And if we're saying, you know, about the league, they have to win games like that, and they have to maybe not even do it in a convincing way, but just get it across the line.
I think that's something that Chelsea's always done. Chelsea has always been a team that you're watching the game, you're like, how are they going to win this game? You're watching it and you're thinking, there's no chance, and then they'll go and score 2 goals and win the game 2-1. And
in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. So you're looking at that game. Arsenal are at home at the Emirates, where they love to play, and they score many, many, many goals at the Emirates. So you have to win that game. And like you said, it doesn't have to look pretty, and we can talk about the goals, but you're going into the final stages of the game, and I'm watching the game as from a fan perspective, or from like analysing. And the goal Aston Villa scored, for me, Arsenal's defending in the corner. It's you've got to have a little bit more composure and awareness in them moments. You've got about 4 players going for the same ball, and when you kind of collide with your own teammates, the ball can land anywhere. And I mean, obviously, unfortunately for them, it landed at Aston Villa foot, but it was completely preventable. And it's really interesting to watch when pressured moments come, how teams handle it. Because obviously you're a Chelsea player and you're sitting on the bus or wherever you are, and you see Arsenal draw 1-1, and you're sitting there on the bus going, lovely, like now we can stretch even further. I remember the year when we lost to Liverpool away with Chelsea, and the next game was Man City versus Arsenal, and we were all sitting at home. We had Bristol in the evening, and we were watching it at home. And Arsenal scored 2 goals in 3 minutes or whatever it was, Stina Blackstenius, and we go and beat Bristol 8-0 to get the goal difference up. You kind of have them moments where you're watching it, and then Chelsea watch it, and then go and put 4 past West Ham. So you're watching it from that perspective as well. It gives Chelsea they have motivation, but it gives them a bit more of a, right, here we go. We're gonna just keep building, keep going. These are the games where you have to win them ones, especially at home. If you go away, of course, it's more difficult. You're not in your normal surroundings. But Arsenal at the Emirates, it's games that you should be winning. I mean, we're going there in 2 weeks, and I'm like, what team is going to turn up? Are they going to score 5 goals against us? Are we going to, you don't know when you go there because they're so dominant there. But now teams going there, maybe they're looking at it going, oh, are they really that scary? Are they really, that dominant there anymore? So it'll be interesting, because I think they can be, and I know they can be, because I know the players that they have, they're quality players. So I think it's just that mindset piece of just always chipping away, right? Okay, Chelsea, yeah, we're still here. Chelsea, we're still here. And other teams have to build into that, otherwise Chelsea are just going to run away with it again.
Yeah, like you say, they've definitely got the squad. They've got the firepower. It's just they're not quite clicking or firing on all cylinders, really. Is there a hangover maybe for some of the players from the Euros and Champions League? They played a lot of football. Do you guys ever feel that as players? That's a hell of a lot of football, and they often make the same substitutions, and they have the same starting 11. So there's some players, I imagine, who just are knackered, right?
Yeah, and I think, look, it's easy to sit and say they're knackered, but for me, they've got a squad for a reason. And I think, not to dwell on the past too much, but Emma utilised her squad. She knew when she could rotate players in cup games and give people the minutes, even if it's just to keep some players a little bit happier. No one's happy being on the bench, but she utilised the squad. Some games you change a whole 10 players going into one of the games, and as much as that can be disruptive, it still gives confidence and minutes to the key players that need it. And I think, obviously, it's no secret that Ian Wright's obviously spoke a lot about it this week on how Renee's not rotating her squad. She's not. I'm seeing Kyra Cooney-Cross obviously playing every pre-season game there is, and she's not yet stepped a minute on the field. Like, she must be sitting there thinking, what have I got to do just to get some minutes? And we all know the type of player she is and what quality she brings. I don't envy Renee being in the position she's got with that many phenomenal players. You can't put them all on the pitch at once. So you look at the forward lines that they've got, it's just abundance in attacking strengths, but you have to realise at times you do need to rotate a little bit, and either if it is save the legs when you've got bigger games coming up. But for me, yeah, fumbling the 3 points there. And I found it also interesting that they almost looked a bit scared in the last 10 minutes because Villa really, really pushed for it. And bearing in mind, Villa played mostly kids in their team. Like, they didn't even have their full strength. Obviously, Maritz was out after her red card. Rachel Daly came off at half time. Like, they lacked quite a lot of experience. And then I'm seeing, obviously, amazing for Lotta coming on and getting some minutes, but you're dropping into a back five in the last 5 to 10 minutes of a game at home at the Emirates, and you think, where it's almost like you were scared of Villa on your home turf, and I think that's probably what they sensed, and they knew they were going to get something from the game because they allowed them to get that momentum and fear into Arsenal. And as I said, I've been on the backing of some spankings from Arsenal, and it's not pretty.
Yeah.
And I think, like you say, Fran, they are a dominant side. They have such quality players, but for some reason they're not fully showing that at home, and that's exactly where they should be dominating because they're one of the leading forefronts of women's football in terms of the fan base selling out the Emirates week after week. That's what everyone aspires to have at their club, but you can't be having fans coming and not feeling like you're dominating in your own home turf. So it was definitely interesting to see, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see if how severely that's going to cost them dropping those points.
Yeah, agreed. Let's see how the rest of the season plays out. So West Ham took on Chelsea. Chelsea playing it in that gorgeous black third kit, my favourite kit of this season. I absolutely love it. Chelsea comfortably won, obviously 4-0. This game, there's quite a bit to discuss. Wonder goals, hair pulling, poor defending. I mean, where should we start? Who wants to go first?
I mean, I want to start with, actually, West Ham had some really big chances.
They did, to be fair.
Chelsea
Yeah.
scored. And I remember watching it. I was on the physio bed, shock, horror, shock, after the game. And I remember watching it. I was like, West Ham should be about 2-0 up. You know, they had some big chances in the first 10 minutes, I would say. And I remember I was sitting there on my phone, watching it on my phone. I said, West Ham should be 2-0 up. I said, so in 1 minute, Chelsea are going to score. You know, it's inevitable. It's going to happen.
Lo and behold, they score.
Yeah, I mean, it was an absolute banger.
Worldy, yeah.
You know, I remember watching it, I was like, is Aggie taking the free kick?
Thought the same thing. I was like, who put this girl on free kicks? Lord, did she
And she hits it top bins.
That's why we never got on free kicks, Franny.
I know, yeah, exactly. I'm still not on them now. But yeah, I was just kind of, this is just the way that it's been for so many years for Chelsea, because I think as a player there, you just know that you're going to score. So, you know, they're watching West Ham have these chances and they're probably sitting there going, it's fine, because we're going to go and score in a minute anyway. And that's what they do. And of course, you know, you're looking into that game, you're watching it, you go, okay, this should be a comfortable win for Chelsea. And I think from 10 minutes on, it was very, very comfortable for Chelsea. And, you know, watching, I mean, you can see that West Ham are struggling. They're struggling at the moment. And, you know, they did a little bit last season at the beginning of the year and was able to kind of claw it back and bring something back. But, you know, you don't want to get too far behind. And, you know, it's already starting to creep that, you know, you're getting a little bit too far behind. But, you know, some of the defending for the goals, you watch it, you're going, how are you letting Righty Cannerid just literally run into the middle of the goal and have a tap in? Captain as well, her goal. No one's picking up the runners, no one's tracking them, no one's communicating. So it just looks very disjointed at West Ham at the moment. But, you know, of course, you lose 4-0 to Chelsea and you're looking at it, we could be 2-0 up after 10 minutes. So it's not all doom and gloom. But, of course, they need to... And it's the same for every team that's playing against Chelsea. You have to take your chances because you're not going to get many more. And if you don't, it makes Chelsea feel, well, okay, we're going to score anyway. You know, we always score. So if you manage to put them away and you do it early or you get them, you know, rhythm, of course it's very hard because Chelsea is a quality side. But for me, these are the little details now that other teams have to take going into playing against Chelsea is when you get the chances, you have to take them. Because it's just going to be a disaster if you don't, because you give them that feeling of, well, you're not going to score, so we are.
I mean, talking of taking chances, obviously Aggie Beever Jones, 4 goals in 4 starts now. That free kick, what a rocket that was. Unbelievable. Like you say, quite bold of a young player to be like, yeah, this free kick's mine. But then to be honest, when she did that, I was like, fair enough. And I don't know if you remember, Fran, I was kind of moaning a little bit at the start of the season saying, maybe people aren't talking about her quality enough. But I think, we can confidently say now she's one of the best in the league, isn't she?
Yeah, I think she's making a real name for herself. I mean, obviously, I think last year as well, she did in terms of her scoring, her goal scoring ability. I think what Aggie has done is she's taken her opportunity. There's always going to be, we always talk about it at Chelsea. And I always, when I had injuries or my teammates had injuries, it's someone's loss is someone else's gain in that club. And when you get that opportunity, you have to take it. And she's done that. And, when you're, like Beth said earlier, when you're playing with quality players, you're going to get these chances. So for me, the top goal scorer of the league should always play for Chelsea because of the chances that you're going to get, the goals that you can score with the chances that are created. So I'm not surprised that Aggie is scoring every single game because of the chances that she's going to get given. But of course, to be in the right places at the right time, to score free kicks, to step up and take that, it's credit to her and it's credit to where she's at with herself in terms of confidence, in terms of feeling part of the furniture there now. And she's only going to grow more and more and gain more and more confidence as the season goes on. So hopefully, she's able to continue building that goal scoring record and also, working on other parts of her game as well in terms of maybe assisting others, getting herself in the right moments and all of these things. So yeah, she's definitely got a lot more to learn, but obviously her start has been top quality and, probably one of the reasons why Chelsea is scoring and winning every game at the moment.
Yeah, definitely staking her claim, isn't she? She's like, Sam Kerr's back, but hang on a minute. I can do this. You should still keep me in the team. Maybe.
I'll take a free kick and then you'll know.
By the way, let's talk about the hair pull because that was just so silly, wasn't it? Definite red card. I mean, come off it.
How stupid can you be? Like, you're coming up against the champions and you want to potentially put yourself a player down. Like, as Fran said, chances come few and far between against a team like that. You've already had two big opportunities, and albeit they, as Fran touched on again, last season, towards the end of the year, I think, didn't they beat Chelsea or they took points off them or something because they've really found form. And I think they were probably naive into thinking we're going to walk into this season and do the same again, take points off big teams. But actually, last season you were taking those chances and making them count, and this year if you're not taking those chances you're going to get punished, and that's exactly what happened. But to do something so silly so early on in the game, to be going 10 players down to 10 players is just, yeah, it's just, I'd be fuming if I was her teammate, because you can understand if a player's on a yellow and they're fighting, breaking their neck for the team, like wanting to put in the tackles to help. A hair pull, we're not in school, like we're seeing it far too much, and I just think, oh, it was such a stupid decision from her. And yeah, if I was her teammate, if I was her captain, I would be telling her straight, because yeah, that's just,
it wouldn't be tough love, it would just be tough.
It would be so tough. I'd be pulling her hair out because I'd be that angry. But yeah, I think in those moments there's a fine line between what does the team need and just stupidity, and unfortunately I think they went for the latter, and it heavily affected because they just had to sit in the block and just wave after wave after wave. And you can take a lot of waves from certain teams, you can't keep taking those waves from Chelsea because, as again I said, ultimately you're just going to get punished.
Yeah, 100%. One of my other favourite moments of that game was Erin Cuthbert scoring just a long-range banger, as she does a few times a season. Do you notice the celebration? The gun flex? I was like, come on.
If there's anyone who doesn't have guns, I think it's Erin.
Yeah, was that sarcastic one, or?
Yeah, I'm sure it'll come out.
There's always a reason behind Erin's celebrations. I'm not quite sure always what they are.
Okay.
But
we're all sus on that.
I'm always impressed that people remember to do these celebrations. I get like messages to like, can you do this as a celebration today? And I still don't do it. So I'm more impressed by that side because I'm just so focused on the game and just happy that I've scored a goal.
Yeah.
To then go around and be like, yeah, like,
this doesn't. I bet odds on you doing that on your next goal, eh? Odds on.
Please, lock it in now.
Go on then.
To 10, yeah.
What out of 10?
Yeah, 1 to 10. Ready?
Okay.
3, 2, 1, 4.
3.
Oh, Close. You're lucky today.
Yeah. What is the best celebration you think you guys have pulled out?
Oh.
Or maybe seen, like you were saying, you guys sometimes don't always remember, but what's the best one you've seen, like from a teammate?
I mean, it has to be Sam Kerr's backflip.
100%.
I mean, yeah.
Like, what, is she gonna land? Is she gonna hurt herself on the landing? Like,
I mean, I've done a knee slide. Does that count?
Yeah, I love
knee slides are always good.
But our knees now, Fran, we won't get back up.
No, I wouldn't be able to get back up.
But yeah, I also think Sushka and Nuskan and Ramirez would always have really cool celebrations.
Yeah.
Very well thought out and planned. Too much planning.
But to remember it in the moment, it doesn't make sense to me. Like, how do you think, right, wait, remember, we're going to do the celebration now. Like, it doesn't, I don't know. I mean, it's impressive.
Yeah, I like it. It shows character, it shows originality. But yeah, I don't know if I could go to them lengths either. But maybe we should try and think of what, not for Sunday though, Fran. Not at all.
That'd be so typical women's football though, wouldn't it? That we score against one another and celebrate with each other.
Well done, Bestie. Good job.
I was thinking when I was driving here that I really wanted to say this on the podcast, and I was like, it's really funny because I think you didn't play the last time we played you, and I didn't play the time before that.
No.
I remember I always send Beth a message. We always message each other on the day of a game saying good luck to each other. It's just something that we do. I remember I said, good luck to you, but not your team.
Yeah.
That's always the message.
Like polite, but not fully nice. Yeah.
Literally. And last season, it was before Christmas. I think it was the last game before Christmas. I obviously scored and you weren't playing. And then the reverse fixture, I was in the stands and you scored. I was like, for God's sake. Obviously, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm happy when you score against us, because I'm not. I'm happy for you as an individual, but never against my team.
Yeah, it's the same this side. Yeah.
But yeah, it's just, I said, what's the odds on us both scoring when neither of us are on the pitch? But
well, maybe we're both going to be on the pitch this Sunday.
I hope so. That would
maybe
be nice.
That's it. And I think I'm still going to work on a celebration idea. We'll take this to the group chat, but one more game to discuss. 3 wins in a row now for Man City as they beat, obviously, the London City Lionesses 4-1. Bunny Shaw was just too much for them, wasn't she?
She's too much for everyone, I think, that girl. She's just so good. Her height, her strength, her power, like she really is a quality player. And I think you've got the likes of Miedemar playing up alongside her, and you just think that is an attacking duo that no set of defenders want to see. And we've had the brunt of it enough times, but like they're just such good quality talent, and they complement each other well, I think. So yeah, she's a powerhouse for sure.
Yeah, I do feel a tiny bit sorry for London City Lionesses, because what a harsh welcome to the WSL. They've come up against, the big dogs right at the start, already played Arsenal, City and United. I'm hoping maybe they'll start picking up some points in the next few games, and we'll, see some of their ambition. What did you make of that latest performance, Fran? Do you think you can see them maybe getting some points in the future? Are you starting to see things click a little bit?
I think so. Look, I think, they probably got their scheduling and they got their fixtures, and they're looking at the fixtures going, okay, where do we think we can get points here? And they probably looked at the schedule and thought, there's not many in the first kind of 5 games. So I think, obviously being a new team coming into the league, you've made multiple signings. You've played the top teams now. So you're looking at it going, right, okay, we've experienced a lot together as a team. We've experienced some losses. We've experienced, obviously, winning our first game. So I think now you'll probably see a little bit more cohesion in the team, because obviously they've had these results, and they've probably had to change the way that they play in different games, whether it's they've got to defend more, they've got to attack more like they did against Everton. So I think there are positives in the performances, and it's just going to take them to get in a little bit of a rhythm. And I think at the moment, because of the teams that they've played, they haven't been able to get in a rhythm, and they've probably gone into the analysis for Man City going, right, we've got to deal with Bunny Shaw this week. You're probably looking around, and there's not many teams in the league that can deal with Bunny Shaw. So it's been a really tough start for them, but the caliber of players that they have, the experience that they have in the team, I don't think it's going to be all doom and gloom in their building. I think that they will know that they've had a tough start, but they're looking probably at the next fixtures now leading up till Christmas, probably bar the Chelsea game, going, we can start picking up some points here. We can start building on our performances. We're going to have the ball a little bit more. We can start building on those relationships. So, yeah, I'm excited to see how they progress over the next few months. And I mean, ultimately, they have to start picking up points as well, because you don't want to get in a position where also you're too far away from the rest of the pack, which I don't think they will be, because I do think that they have the quality. But they just have to start building again slowly. They've probably built up until the first game of the season and gone, we just have to get through the first, month or month or so, and gone, right, okay, now we're going to start again. It's like the start of their season now, really, looking at the teams that they're going to play.
Bless them. Yeah, they've had to kind of grin and bear it a little bit. But they have been scoring goals at least, although they've been losing, obviously only one win. They have been scoring goals. So interesting to see how the rest of their season goes out. Right. Thank you to both of you for being amazing. Fran, what did you make of Beth's debut out of 10?
11.
Excellent.
I think she should come back again.
Yes,
Guys,
we will
I'm not
rope
getting
you
out
in
this
plenty
door.
more.
My head has been blown up for this little pea head. I'm not going to get out my door. You've been the best.
Don't worry, you will be back very, very soon. That is for sure. Speak to you both soon, and thank you so much to you guys as ever for tuning in. We'll see you soon. Bye.